The Polish FB Tantal VZ or Model 88. It is a variation of the AK74 that Poland adopted in 1988. This model is a variation that deviates from the standard AK74 that the Russians adopted. As we see here, like this Bulgarian model is basically the same thing that the Soviet Union was fielding. A lot of these communist bloc countries, even though they were controlled by the Russians, I guess had some choice in making modifications of what they adopted to their military. And this variation is a bit on the different side. First thing you'll notice, it has a folding stock. We'll take a closer look at that. And it is kind of a copy of a style of folding stock used by the East Germans on their AK-47 variant. It uses the standard AK-74 mags. The handguard in that is different. And it even comes off different in the tube. How the gas tube where the piston rides is also a tad bit different. You'll also notice there's this ring here, which I believe is for the clip-on bipod, which I have that, and we'll look at it in a minute, which is not on the other AK-74 model. Like I said, the sights are just about the same. So the same style sight. You got your cleaning rod mounted underneath, just like on the other AK versions. But if you notice the flash suppressor, and this is a grenade launcher for a spigot type rifle grenade, they opted to design this so this weapon can fire a rifle grenade, where the Soviet model muzzle brake flash suppressor doesn't do that. So that's another thing that they took off with. Also, this rifle was designed with a 3-shot burst mechanism. So you will see an actual one of these will have the Soviet or the AK style control 3-position with the safety net. But on the opposite side would have been a knob. Hold on here a second. On the opposite side of the receiver would have been a knob here that you would turn to be either full auto or the 3-shot burst. Now, Nodak Spud did make a receiver that you could put a false knob in there to give it the exact look of the Polish version, but I didn't opt for that. Plus, it was a couple of years after I put this build together that was available. So this has a few unique differences with it. And the Poles, the Czechs, all of them kind of like making, even though they made it in terms of Soviet weapon, it accepts AK-74 mags. It fires the standardized round, 5.45 by 39. This weapon here is just a little bit different. It's kind of cool, and if you did opt to have that extra little knob in there, that would have been really neat. But folding stock in that makes it kind of lightweight and compact. So, and this gun does disassemble just like a standard AK-47-74. I said other than this gas tube arrangement, which is different, and I will do a video where I show on cleaning these, where I take these guns apart. So the disassembly and pointing out the differences, just stay tuned for the videos I'm going to make in the future here. Alright, now we'll change it around. We'll take a look at some of the other features up close. The rifle kit did come with this clip-on bipod, close-bin style bipod, much similar to the early AR-15 style, which I guess rotates on that thing there. and that's about all it does. So when I went out shooting it, I haven't used it, I might try it, but all the kits came with that bipod on there. So that's another interesting little thing that went on there. Useful accessory? I'm not quite sure. As for the bayonet, I'll do a separate video on the bayonet. All I have is 2 of these Bulgarian style bayonets. You know, wire cutter deals. You got serrated edges and a double point. And I guess all AK74 bayonets will fit on the different variants of the rifle. They will not fit on the AK-47. So there you go. The bayonet, the bipod, folding stock, makes for a pretty cool weapon. Something kind of unique on its own. Well, that's what it looks like with the bayo on there. Now I'll show you the features of the folding stock and some of the other stuff that's a little bit different. Okay, so our bipod, like I said, is just clothespin, like they used to call that in the old M16, the clothespin bipod. So that's another accessory. Now, as for the folding stock, we'll take a look at it here. This is similar to the model the East Germans used on their AKMs. And what's different about this one, you'll find on AKs there's several different variations. The Hungarians used a very similar thing, but with a different style latch and locking mechanism. This one here, you have this tab, which you push down, and then it disengages the block in the back, and you swing this around here. And the gun can be operated with the stock folded, even though it's on that side. The Russians like flipping it the other way, but it's on this side. And so there, basically you got a huge notch. And how that works, when you press that lever down, it has a thing that rides up into that notch. Now another thing, if you look, the Sling Swivel is attached to this trunnion right there. It is part of the trunnion. Now there are several variations of the AK that will have the sling with a folding stock, like the Hungarian one. You have to cut out, or there is a slot. It would be cut out into the receiver about here, and then that sling swivel will be there, and then a piece of metal will be pressed and then maybe tack welded to hold it in place. So basically your sling would be positioned over here on a swivel. It is a different variation. And they do use a very similar style, which this is called the Crutch style folding stock. And this here, yep, you got to depress it. Okay, the way that's in there, that little block that locks it in place also locks it in folded position. So you would have to press the lever, get the block out of the way, and fold it over till it locks. So that's a little bit of a different variation. And like I said, there's different styles that they look similar. I'm not quite sure what the East German style was. I know that the Hungarians made a AK variant that has a similar folding stock, but it's not the same mechanism. The mechanism is different than this, but the stock itself looks the same. So there we go. Look at the sights. Standard AK stuff. Close up of that grenade launcher. And then this handguard here, this forward thing. Actually, this gun is quite handy, quite light, feels nice, and shoots well. Okay? I kind of like it. Alright. Alright guys, so I'm going to wrap up this video on the two AK74 variants that I have. I don't intend on collecting any more or getting them, but these two I've hung on to, kept in my collection. I enjoy shooting them, and there they are. Bayonets affixed, bipods, and everything else. I will make some videos discussing the bayonets. They are Bulgarian. They're the only variation I have. I don't have any others. And I'm not an expert on bayonets. And I will make a video looking at canvas magazine pouch, the different magazines we'll take a look at, and the clips that I use to load the magazines that kind of are standard AK74 stuff that was available at one time. I'm not quite sure if it is now or not. But I hope you enjoyed the video. We will take these out to the range and we will do some shooting and cover the other little finer points about the rifle. Thank you and stay tuned.